February 2024, Hong Kong. An employee in Arup's finance office joins a video call. The chief financial officer is there. The full executive suite is there. Over the next minutes, the employee authorizes 15 wire transfers totaling $25.6 million into 5 Hong Kong accounts. None of the people on the call were real. This was not a hack. Arup's network was untouched. No malware, no credential theft, no unauthorized database access. What collapsed instead was a far older form of security, the belief that a familiar face and a familiar voice constitute authentication. When a CFO's likeness can be fabricated for $15 and 45 minutes of effort, the eyes and ears stop being credentials. Most enterprises responded to generative AI by deploying what we call wrappers, thin software layers wired to public APIs from OpenAI or Anthropic. The wrapper paradigm fails the enterprise on 3 counts. First, data egress. Sensitive financial records leave the corporate perimeter, exposed to the U.S. Cloud Act and opaque subprocessor relationships. Second, the reliability gap. A large language model predicts the most likely next token. It does not verify, it speculates. Third, the unembodied advisor problem. For engineering firms like Arup, semantic plausibility is not physical safety. A wrapper cannot distinguish an activity cliff from a marketing claim. Veriprajna's response is deep AI sovereign architecture, not a service subscription. 4 layers. Layer 1, the private enterprise LLM. A full inference stacked VLLM or TGI is deployed inside the client's own virtual private cloud or on an on-premises Kubernetes cluster the client owns end-to-end. Sovereign intelligence never leaves the perimeter. Layer 2, RBAC-aware private REG. The retrieval brain is wired into the firm's existing access controls. If an employee cannot open a document in SharePoint, the model cannot retrieve it on their behalf. No privilege escalation through the chat box. Layer 3, the neuro-symbolic sandwich. The creative neural network is encased between 2 deterministic layers. The bottom layer sanitizes input. Prompt injection is filtered before it reaches the model. The middle layer reasons. The top layer is a symbolic guard. It does not generate values, it queries them. When the system reports an authorization status, it is reading a deterministic row in the ERP, not predicting a token. Layer 4, continuous authentication. Physiological signals, heartbeat-induced color change in facial pixels are monitored frame by frame. Behavioral biometrics, keystroke cadence, mouse rhythm. Cognitive deviation under coercion, build a baseline for each executive. And every video frame and audio packet carries a cryptographic provenance tag, the C2P standard, so an unsigned stream is treated like an unsigned binary. The evidence the diagnosis is correct comes from the threat landscape itself. Injection attacks against identity verification providers rose 255% in 2023. Face swap attacks rose 704% in the same window. The barrier to entry has collapsed. A convincing deepfake of a chief financial officer can now be fabricated for $15 and 45 minutes of preparation. The defensive standards have moved with the threat. ISO/IEC 30107-3 certifies a system's resilience against presentation attacks. CEN Technical Specification 18099 is the first dedicated standard for detecting injection attacks. The NIST AI Risk Management Framework structures the response in 4 steps: govern, map, measure, manage. Liability has moved with the threat as well. Courts increasingly apply the imposter rule. Losses are borne by the party in the best position to have prevented the fraud. After Arup, that party is no longer the deceived employee. It is the firm that failed to implement multi-channel verification for a $25 million wire. For a board, this is no longer a technology question. It is a fiduciary one. Under the California Consumer Privacy Act and the EU AI Act, a CIO who fails to implement reasonable deepfake controls can be held personally liable in shareholder litigation. The wrapper, optimized for cost and speed of adoption, is now optimized for legal exposure. The deep AI alternative, sovereign infrastructure, neuro-symbolic guards. Continuous biometric authentication costs more in capital and less in catastrophic loss. Authenticity, going forward, is verified by physics and logic, not by what a face looks like or what a voice sounds like. The Arup heist was the price of one lesson. We have written the architectural response. Read the 14-page brief on sovereign deep AI and on the new frontier of trust in a synthetic world.